Hey, how are you? Kumusta po kayo? And thanks for tuning in to another edition of Paul Presents Art. My name is Paul and I'll be your guide today. And today we're just outside in one of the courtyards here in the city of Vancouver, which is of course built on the ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And we're gonna go and have a look at a series of public artworks. You can see one behind me. They're scattered all over the courtyard, and they're by the works of Ontario-based artist Tom Dean. So I hope you can join me for this tour. The animals are all made of bronze and they're scattered everywhere. I hope you enjoy the tour, and let's go do it. So we are in the inner courtyard of a residential development here in Vancouver, on the corner of Kingsway and Broadway, called Cedar Cottage Mews. Back in the early 2000s, the development company commissioned Ontario-based artist Tom Dean to create a public art installation for this open and expansive area. About 2 years ago, I covered this very same installation in video, but I wanted to revisit the site and create a more insightful and descriptive content. In my opinion, this is one of the most interesting, dynamic, and socially engaged public artwork in Vancouver, and I've since had a chance to think more on the subject matter. But before we dive into it, let me share a short bio on the artist. Tom Dean's work eludes categories. He has made paintings, videos, and multiples, but is best known for his sculpture. His art plays upon the tensions between the ordinary and the mythical, with works varying in scale from miniature to monumental, their subject matter ranging from familiar everyday objects to classical icons. His epic subjects allude to the dream world of the psyche and matters of the soul, but always reside in the intensely material world of desire and the body. If you're new to the channel, please know that this channel is about art, exhibitions in contemporary, historical, and outsider art, group shows, art collections, etc. I live in Vancouver, Canada, so most of my videos will be based in that region, but I'll cover exhibitions as I travel. This first group of locals I would introduce as the Beaver and the Rats. All the sculptures are bronze, life-sized, and date from 2008. There seems to be a plot afoot, led by the eager but careful beaver and a host of rats being equally on the alert. As with most of Tom Dean's work, there is often a paradox at play, cloaked behind the sheer physical beauty and contained wonderment of the works. The invoked paradise is not as it seems, and we'll find out later. There's an informative brochure accompanying this public art installation. Authored by Vancouver-based curator and writer Ann Pollock, I will be quoting that brochure in this video, and the brochure's text is available in the description area. The brochure begins as follows, and I quote, "The word paradise has its origins in ancient Persian, literally meaning a walled enclosure, garden, or park. And the concept of a place of paradise is cross-cultural, a sheltered kingdom of eternal peace in which creatures dwell together in a state of harmony and contentment, as opposed to the realities of a contemporary world. Behind such an Eden, there always looms the question of a fall from grace. Will there be an expulsion from the garden? Can what lies beyond these sheltered walls intrude upon it? And if so, what will happen?" Canadian artist Tom Dean explores these questions in his ongoing examination of the concept of paradise, its presence and absence, the mirage of it, how we may yearn for it, yet only gain it for transient moments, while also hoping for mercy. Dean's art plays upon tensions between the ordinary and mythological. While his subjects can allude to dreams, psyche, or the soul, they are portrayed in forms from the material world of desire and the body. This can imbue his created objects with a contained and mysterious energy." Unquote. Now I would like to introduce you to the sow and the snake. And I think it's easy to get lost in the implied and constructed narratives that these sculptures project. It's not one story, but a host of narratives, further informed by our personal histories and life experiences. Although seemingly static, there is an energy that propels the viewer to want more, to know more, and perhaps to hope for more. The way the snake entwines the sow can seem loving or threatening. Is the sow comfortable with the snake's embrace, Or is this sculpture merely evoking an academic exercise in economic sculptural space? These dichotomies of social, physical, and intellectual engagement proposes more, and is evocative throughout the sculptural groupings. And the brochure describes it as such, and I quote, "Within this inner courtyard, sculptures of strange and magical pairings exist in apparent harmony. A young goat lies intimately on the back of a powerful leopard and kisses its ear. A family of giant sloths dangles from a wisteria trellis. A beaver peers around the edge of a building. He could be a Canadian version of a Pied Piper, checking to see if the way is clear so that he can lead away a pack of rats gathered around him. There is a serpent that resides in this garden also. It is happily entwined with a big fecund sow, while her pharaoh piglets lie scattered nearby," unquote. And we see that scattering of piglets here, all tumbled, jumbled, as if there's not a care in the world. It's worthwhile noting the location of this installation as being a temporary oasis, but is still connected to the outside contemporary world. The sculptural groupings are situated in a way that forces the viewer to engage with the immediate environment. How the sound of traffic infiltrates this solemn oasis, vehicles passing by, going about their business, pedestrians on their way to the library or daycare, and amongst this hustle and bustle of human activity, there are these other life forms that not only share our world, but go about their daily business. Leaving them alone is their notion of paradise. And why not? Don't we all wish to be left alone to live our lives in relative peace and tranquility? Isn't paradise that place or frame of mind that we hope to reach one day? And now we're looking at a cluster of otters in playful but alerted repose. And from the brochure, I would like to quote the following. "At the base of a tall waterfall, otters play, while a bear and a naked male child sit together watching them. The bear wraps a comforting arm-like paw around the child, who raises a hand in the ancient gesture of benediction," unquote. We'll get to the bear and the child very soon, but I'd like to entertain a particular thought regarding the above quote, and trust me, it will lead to something revelatory. I think it's interesting to note the reference toward benediction, as the brochure's text started off with a quote from the Bible in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6, that says, and I quote, "The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with a young goat, and a little child will lead them," unquote. According to our dictionary's definition, benediction is the utterance or bestowing of a blessing, especially at the end of a religious service. And having been raised a Roman Catholic, I can't help but associate this entire installation in biblical and religious terms. Might we think of the Bible not as a manual for religious zealots, but more as a collection of stories and parables, or fictive, even poetic accounts of events meant for spiritual guidance? Do we attribute spirituality or a spiritual essence to animals? Or is that the privilege of human beings? Is that blasphemy? And where will that lead us? Meanwhile, we're moving over to have a look at the seated child with the bear. There seemed to be a familiarity, even camaraderie, between them. Remember my earlier reference to religion and spirituality? I can't help but attribute the seated child as representing the child Jesus, or the Santo Niño. And if we were, in a leap of faith, to imagine the entire courtyard as a setting for religious or spiritual worship, might it not be the venue for an informal open-air cathedral or basilica, where the animals might represent iconic references to saints and angels? And who would the bear signify? Could it be Judas or another apostle? And the cast of animals, might they represent non-human iconographic effigies of local saints? This is merely a fun speculation of what these sculptures may signify, going beyond the dichotomies of nature and the urban, and symbolizing what can be defined as paradise. Then again, if I may quote American modernist writer Gertrude Stein, "A rose is a rose is a rose. And within that phrase is contained an expression of existentialism. And if I may be so bold enough to state that, the concept and pursuit of paradise is as an existential quest. And now we'll cross over to the other side of the courtyard, where we'll see the leopard and the goat. When I first visited the site, and before reading the brochure, I initially thought it was a cougar. But after a brief conversation with a passerby, he seemed to know about such things. He told me that it's much too large to be a cougar. So I had to rethink my initial impression, and remembering that these sculptures are life-sized, I took his words under advisement. A few years back, I remember someone telling me that the project went over budget. I mean, way over budget. Not sure if it's true, but it's understandable, and is often the norm rather than the exception. Public art commissions take many years to complete. As time passes, costs rise, and apparently, rumor has it that the artist was not satisfied with the initial prototypes for the sculptures, so they were recast and recast until it met his standards. While observing every detail of these bronze sculptures, we can discern the intricate textures of the skin, the attenuation of the paws, the musculature of the bodies, the expression on the faces, being either serious or at times jocular. They all require an attention to detail that is as close to perfection as one can achieve. And once the sculptures are cast, it's permanent. So better get it right or live with the consequences, maybe even the ridicule from critics like myself. Yeah, right. And moving right along slowly, if we follow the tree trunk and look up, you might see a glimpse of the sloths. I found two, one on each side of this archway, and I believe that's all there is. When I first visited the site to do the video, I must admit that I missed them. It's only after reading the brochure that I was reminded they were there, somewhere. I was thinking, how did I miss them? Were they hidden that well? I knew they were hanging around in the area, but obviously they didn't want to be found. After all, sloths are slow-moving and shy. But regardless, I had to go back to shoot this segment of the video, and there they were, hanging on the archway, hidden by the vines. It's a poetic installation in my opinion, an appropriate use of the planted fauna and architectural details. It makes you look up, beyond the pedestrian paths, and into the tree canopy and the clouds. It's an expansive installation that brings together multiple aspects of our environment. It's not just floor space, but wall and air space as well. It's a game of hide and seek, as playful as fairy tales are in the mind of a child, as open in thought as it is in sculptural expanse. And isn't that what art is all about? To expand our minds, to break expectations, to go beyond the horizon and further the limits of our imagination. And perhaps that freedom through imagination qualifies as paradise. And finally, we reach the vulture, perched high above and overlooking the courtyard. The brochure describes it as, and I quote, "Perched on a ledge above, the bird surveys the scene below. The strength and detail of its exquisitely rendered wings are clearly visible as it sits, poised to take flight at the first opportunity." Sheltered from the busy streets that surround it, the courtyard has the feeling of a moment suspended in time. But beneath this surface of apparent harmony and calm, powerful energies and emotions can be sensed in the creatures that coexist within it. For the present, everything is balanced in a place of enchanted equilibrium. But can it hold? Will this peaceable kingdom remain in its state of charmed perpetuity? Or could some unexpected event trigger a descent into chaos, with a vulture sweeping in to scavenge on the remains? And I think that's a good place to leave things. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Tom Dean's installation of bronze sculptures titled Peaceable Kingdom, part of the City of Vancouver Public Art Program. If you'd like to share your thoughts, observations, questions, please do so in the comment section below. That would be terrific. Click the like button, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free, and as a non-monetized channel, subscribing achieves visibility and creates added awareness of the artist and the venue. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great day, and I hope art continues to inform your life. Tune in again next time for more art-related videos. Goodbye!